Hey traders, hello, welcome to another edition of the Crypto Lab with Alex, every Thursday featured by Trading Analysis. I was just looking the press conference from the ECB, which is held, I think, in Amsterdam, in Netherlands. They are going to start raising rates due to heightened inflation. So they plan to stop a QE in the 1st of July and actually lift 25 basis points the key rate. And then they announced also for August raising another 25 basis points. So we will be at 0.5 at September in the Europe, and they are planning to see the data how of course the inflation develops in August, and then act accordingly, not excluding further rate increases in the European Union. Also ECB joins the rest of the world in catching up on the inflation. And we have a Fed next week, which we discussed previously. They are most likely going to move 50 basis points on the upside. So ECB is relatively late because of the situations, but nevertheless, they are starting the at least small hiking cycle, in my opinion, because they're behind the curve pretty considerably, as you see the levels and figures of the official inflation. So let's dive in. Let's look a little bit of a macro analysis, which didn't change much from the last week. Let me just enhance these charts or make them bigger. US 10-year yields are moving according to our current Elliott Wave script. We do see a resistance, as we explained in the last Crypto Labs, around this area. So we do count this as a potential first five-wave move. We marked this fourth wave last time as a possible bottom. Still not sure. This can be a triangle or a little bit lower, but we are seeing rates moving higher towards Fed. We are above 3%, 3.055 currently, and we think we are going to go a little bit more upside, especially on the announcement next week. So we do see rates moving further above 3.26, maybe 3.50, 3.6, somewhere around there. But we do expect to see some type of pause ongoing from August, September, and we do see possibility of potentially maybe even a broader triangle in some B wave, which will take some, let's say, a couple of months to unfold before we go, let's say, back and forth geopolitically, and then we can also see building of conditions for another small push further on the upside going forward. So we will see. I don't like to go much into the future. We will see how that will unfold, but nevertheless, we do expect this to be the last move on the upside before we see some type of consolidation and a pause in these 10-year yields continuing higher. The situation in Europe, this is the 10-year Bund yields, is not the same. We have gone pretty sizably on the upside in the last 2 weeks, and we are tracing out now, instead of kind of a murky three-way move, we are in pretty directional third-way move on the upside, which means that the rates are going to continue higher on this 10-year Bund. So we have 1-2, 1-2, which means that we are trading now in intermediary wave 3. This is a wave 3 of 3. Usually we say third of a third in the Elliott Wave nomenclature. And then we are going to look for a small pullback, another push to complete this higher degree wave 3, maybe August, September. And then we will fall down in some type of a consolidation before we move further on the upside. So according to this, the 10-year Bund will reach 2% some around either beginning of 2023 or a little bit later in 2023. Anyhow, we are tracing out 5-wave move on the upside, which means that after a small pullback or some type of a pullback, we might continue for some time on this inflationary path a little bit more upside. So we have actually first 5 waves developing on the upside in the last 40 years. I think where this price for this bond goes, it goes from 1980. So as you can see, it has been a sizably long, a 40 years deflationary cycle with the rates spiking occasionally on the upside and then moving further lower. But currently situation here suggests that this will not turn to the downside, that we're going to see a full-fledged 5-way move, which will indicate after a pullback we will have more of that in the years to come. So dollar index still consolidating, so we are looking for some type of a way for consolidation, still a 5-way move up. If you want to pair that with the Bitcoin, you can, although I have stressed that 10-year correlation is not so good. Last 2-year correlation is relatively good with the Bitcoin, so even if you count only these 2 last years, you can basically say that we're going to still see a move up in dollar before we see some type of a correction. So it kind of agrees. We look Bitcoin in some type of a wave 4 with one more move lower. So it will kind of match possibly the dollar index movement, although the reasons one or the other go up and down are completely different. So they have from the last 2 years data relatively better correlation than previously. I will still not call it inverse because I think we are at 0.75 ratio. For example, the Ether and Bitcoin has a correlation which fluctuates between 0.85 and 0.95, which is basically almost the same. When we look one chart, we are looking the other as well. So they move in a very good synchronicity. So I will not call yet Bitcoin and dollar as an inverse relation because we do have just a slightly better working correlation in the last 2 years than in the previous periods, where both of them was actually moving on the upside. So a little bit of a pause, triangulation or something else. So we still don't have any evidence to believe that dollar is actually peaked here. We need to see clearly 5 waves down for that observation, and we don't see that, and that's why we classify this still as a corrective pullback with a possible further continuation on the upside. So commodities are still moving on the upside. 35 in CRB index are approaching our target. As I said before, I have 2 targets on that front. So the one is 0.382. There is some extension of fib ratios. We look for the 5th wave target, and the secondary is at 0.618. Sorry, and this one comes around 374. Okay, so this one is already passed, so we can erase it. So I think the next push on the upside will be the last one in this 5-way sequence, and then from there, like in rates, like in some commodities, we're going to go in some type of a consolidation for a couple of months, even a year. So we will go in a wave B, either complex or a triangulation, before potentially we continue higher. US, or this is Brent crude, it is not light crude, so it's a heavier price of the heavier type of the oil, but nevertheless they differ a little bit much from the US crude, but it's showing up what is the internationally most traded one. So 122, we are moving on the upside. We still think we are in some type of triangulation because we do see potentially this range to hold and higher prices ahead. The trend is still intact on the upside. We are just making a small pause. Potentially we can make a small case that this triangle is already done, or we have a small push to the downside in this E wave, but what is crucial for this wave count and this range to hold is that we cannot trade below these levels around 95 to 97 because we will break this range on the downside, and then we will have to change somehow or somewhat this wave structure. So for now the wave structure is working. We are still making some type of support here, going back and forth in a range, and that is usually in most cases completes as a trend continuation on the upside when you have this type of a consolidation. So we don't see that trend yet completed. We have more legs to go on the upside in the next couple of years in price of oil. On the other hand, net gas is reacting to our fib level. We have posted this net gas chart a long way back, looking for this fifth wave target. We are already there. We need to see some type of an impulsive move lower, and it's kind of a normal if you look at the seasonality, because the summer is starting, people will go out on vacations, the gas will not be used that much, although we do have a gas crisis due to situation between Russia and Ukraine. But nevertheless, the consumption will fall before October, November, which we will look as a potentially seasonal timing in this fourth wave in some form, either a triangle or a complex correction. And then November, December, we look prices to start to rise again and actually revisit these highs and even more up to, let's say, 14, 15, 16 in this fifth wave, which is a kind of a normal thing, because winter will not be so easy if we are still in this situation with Ukraine and Russia. The gas is a part of the, I think, sanctions to a degree that will make a problem for European countries to get their supplies of gas. So it's a kind of a reasonable assessment if you look at fundamentally and even from the Elliott Wave perspective, that the wave 4 will react actually and start from our fib ratio. We will have some consolidation for a couple of months and then we will continue higher. So let's also look at Nasdaq. Yeah, as I said, Nasdaq only 3 waves down, so we cannot consider this to be any catastrophic so far event on the downside, guys. So we do see only 3 waves. There is no impulsive structure yet. So I do think I published something on my Twitter feed. I will show you that. I think potentially we are developing some type of an ending diagonal on a higher time frame. It's too early to actually stand behind this observation, but I looked RSI on weekly, and as you can see here in 2012, lows, COVID lows, we have held the levels around 35.40 on the RSI, and I think for now we have a 3 waves down, so I kind of look for another push on the upside in the X wave, and then possible another move down in Y wave, and then from there we might continue higher, fulfilling potentially this ending diagonal pattern in this relatively big cycle degree, wave 3. Okay, so for now there is no conclusion or the wave structure which will indicate that we are in actually gloom and doom scenario, which all the media are expressing outside, that everything is going to finish in the end, blah, blah, blah. So we don't think for now, or the wave structure doesn't suggest that we are still in that phase. Potentially, if our scenario plays out, we might be in that phase where we can expect a longer and bigger correction somewhere around 24, 25, 26. In the years to come, but definitely looking this wave structure for now, we don't expect that to develop as long as this subdivision stays in a 3-wave manner. So let's look at the main news. We all know what the Congress bipartisan bill a couple of days back and forth, how this is going to go. Is it going to be actually officially admitted. So the CFTC will be regulating the crypto markets, considering crypto assets as commodities. There is a couple of variations as well, but I think that will be also a very nice, potentially lawful framework where we're finally going to have some type of stability and overview what can happen as the regulation in different countries are starting to progress in crypto. So in the United States, that will be regulated by CFTC. There is a couple of good things and a couple of bad things about that. I will discuss them in the next Crypto Labs. And if this bill passes, I think it might be a huge push for cryptos as well, because many people in the United States will be able to have some lawful visibility and protection as well. So I think it will open more investment as well into a crypto space. So I think it's generally a good thing. So let's look total crypto market cap. Still the same chart. We dropped from 3 trillion, which we announced late November 2021. If we fail, and we did fail on the downside, so we are looking for either ending diagonal, which means that we should jump from 1.2 and cross this line at 1.5, or if we go directional down, it will be just an ABC. So this will be a wave W, X, Y, and we'll complete this correction here and continue further higher. So we are still observing the same scenario. So let me share the Bitcoin, which is pretty much in the same boat. I have mentioned that many times. So we have a plethora of support levels around 20 to 23K. We have this 200 moving average. We have a base channel. We have a couple of lower and higher time frames fib ratios. Sorry guys, just to put this chart in the perspective. We do see these ratios hold. RSI in last 2 times on weekly level was pretty much low at the same levels as we are now. We have this 200 moving average weekly one. We have a plethora of these fib ratios. So I think we are coming very close to this green wave 4, which will actually complete with this final push on the upside in this green wave 5, making this to be an intermediary orange wave 3 on the higher cycle. Okay, so this can vary in regards of the wave structure. So either ABC, or we have an ending diagonal solution, which is also one of the very possible ones. If you look the ending diagonal solution, you will notice that we need to do one specific thing for the ending diagonal to be valid. We need to go above these levels around 32,917 in order to for ending diagonal to be valid. Okay, so for now we are not trading above that line, and we need to trade above that line because the ending diagonals are the only patterns where actually the wave 4 embarking or actually violating the territory of the wave 2 or the lows of the wave 1 is necessary to actually call the ending diagonal. So we still don't have that. This can also makes us switch in this 4th wave possibility in some type of triangulation, and then we go directly from here down to 2021, 23, which we think is going to be the last move on the downside. And of course we do expect some basing process to last until we see some signs of the impulsive wave structure indicated that this correction is done and that we're gonna continue higher. So same thing on Ether. I will show you this Ethereum chart, which we show to our members. So basically the same thing, either a triangle, one more push on the downside, or we go into some type of an ending diagonal and actually continue to follow Bitcoin on its path. Let me just show you also this scenario on Ether. So they are basically the same. Nothing is changing there. Ether needs to go a little bit more upside to make this ending diagonal valid. So we need to climb from here above these levels, which comes around 2159. So we need to fulfill this fourth wave, and then we can expect the final push down in a fifth wave down to 1300 to 1600 in the case we go directionally lower from these levels, which will actually represent some type of a wave 4. I can show you that here. So this is the 1, 2, down in 3, some type of a triangle in wave 4, and we go directly lower down to from 1250 to 1500, 600 area, where we can potentially find some lows. On a weekly level, we also have the RSI on a lowest level as the previous two lows, which is a very good support. We still didn't reach that 200 moving average. RSI already reached the levels necessary. Of course, this is a weekly chart, so you need a basing process a little bit back and forth until market see some changed conditions or start to buy it. So for now, this we will mark as a fourth wave with one more push down, and then slowly maybe make some impulsive recovery from there. So overall, to conclude, we have still a heightened inflationary situation. ECB started the rate hiking cycle. Fed is already in that cycle. We're gonna monitor next week. I don't expect anything much until the next Wednesday, and some new view or overview of how the Fed officials actually see where the inflation is going. And from that respect, we do see still the conditions in the stock market, which are not as catastrophic as the media starts to portray, looking just the wave structure. And we are, of course, looking what can develop there, because the cryptos will behave like that. At least we found out that Bitcoin is highly correlated with the SMH, with technology sector as well. So we will monitor that as well. But we have our targets, we have our levels. So far, we have been tracking these developments relatively nicely, and we do think we are approaching some lows, not just on Bitcoin, Ether, but on a couple of others very blue chip cryptos. So that will be the majority of our presentation for today. So if you like to visit our work, you can visit at tradinganalysis.com. $27 is a trial, 14 days you have a trial to look our feature and to see what we do. Of course, we do plan to be on the next bull run, buying in portions potential levels that we have for our clients. And if you like to check us out, just visit our website. So let me see your questions. Not much of a question today, guys. Let me just look a couple of charts for you as well. Just a second, please. Just visit our website, our YouTube. Okay. So I will start with Polkadot. Let me look at the Polkadot chart. I also forgot gold and silver, as always. I don't know why I do that. So let me quickly do gold and silver. Nothing still impulsive on the upside. So this might be a wave 1, pullback in a wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. I want to see the gold challenge this previous swing high in 5 waves, and then I will turn bullish. Okay. If we fail that, I think we're going to go down to 1,650. So it's simple as that. This might be some type of 5 waves down, up in B, down in C, and we are down in a 4th wave, ready to go on the upside. Silver in short, pretty much the same. We don't have any evidence for now that silver is breaking on the upside. We do see some consolidation. I will believe on the possible silver moving up only when I see 5 waves up challenging this previous swing high and a 3 waves pullback. which is a usual developing pattern of the bullish nature, and on the bearish one, but in this case, of course, we are oriented toward the bullish side. So either that, either we move down to 1817, which will be the also for me one of the places where I like to potentially be involved with a small risk, and then increasing my risk as the wave count develops. So we didn't miss much on the Polkadot on the gold and silver at all. So let's look Polkadot. We are looking for Polkadot to go a touch lower, as I remember. So let me just find that chart. We were bearish relatively for a long time on Polkadot. So same picture. So this is some type of either a triangle or A down in B, up in C, or a larger fourth wave. And we do see one more move to the downside towards this 667.6 levels. Okay, so that will be some of our favorite places potentially for Polkadot on the downside. Okay, so we still don't have any evidence that Polkadot actually turned bullish for now. We can also show you a couple of things that we track. We track many cryptos with our clients, but of course we will not show you all of that here. We don't have time. So Binance Coin still behaving very nicely. Our overall chart looks for Binance Coin to continue higher. We do see that happening from here, or we already made the final low while the potential cryptos goes one more lower. Binance Coin might stay in a secondary wave correction, and then we will label this as a 1-2. Okay, so this still have to be seen. For now, we have to listen what the market is telling us. So we cannot anchor yet a wave 1 here. We will leave it a little bit more to breathe, and then actually, when we see reversal on other cryptos, potentially we will relabel this one. Okay, so but I think we are near either finished or a small push to the downside to this equality level, which comes around 204. Okay, before we continue higher. So Matic is in the same spot. We are looking for a continuation higher in Matic. So the chart is looking pretty nice from the Elliott Wave perspective. I don't think this wave 4 is still done. I think one more push is available. RSI is very low. The wave structure indicates that we are either in a primary degree, but I think in an intermediary degree, wave 4, we go up in a wave 5. Even if you anchor this wave 5 here, you can have this as a corrective pullback in the wave higher degree wave 4. So it really doesn't important, because even if we are on this degree here, the importance of that will be only at these highs. For now, both degrees are showing the wave count for a further move up in prices. So that's why we can play with this and put this wave 4 or this wave 4. Nevertheless, the 5-wave sequence confirmation and continuation, of course, will confirm Matic going higher toward some nice levels than it is trading now. Okay, so let me see. I didn't look Riot for a long time. Let's look what's going on there. Obviously, wave 4, we expected the triangle, didn't play it out. Yeah, this looks relatively we cannot trace 5 waves up here. We can trace 1, 2, and up in 3, and I don't see this sequence as something still bearish. So we have to place this in a position that we can still expect some type of a very soon bounce on the upside. It doesn't look if this is the complete chart, we have some type of a 5 waves down. Either we can consider this as a smaller wave 2 and then moving further on the upside, but I don't think so. RSI is very low. Although this looks very unproportionate, I will dare to put the wave fork here until the wave count is invalidated, and then we have to look for some type of ABC x ABC. So definitely this movement on the downside still doesn't have a full-fledged 5-wave development, so we cannot be bearish. And definitely looking this RSI and looking this support here, we cannot be also bearish. So we should expect some bounce and potentially a little bit more lower levels, and then some impulsive price action there. Okay. Sianineke, sorry if I misread your name. Listen, so we are looking at larger time frames, okay? So I do not think that in these conditions, Bitcoin will immediately move on the upside. So we go full throttle here and we go to 100K. No, okay, so first, this is not yet done, and conditions changes either on a worse or on a better. So from the cryptos on the better will be this regulatory, regular or regulation format that they're proposing in the States. Secondly, these conditions with inflation can change in the next couple of months. And thirdly, we might have Fed pivoting from the current inflationary scare to a more neutral stance, which is going to be the risk on. So if you are presenting the thesis for the conditions, why stock market only has 3 waves down? Why we don't see an impulsive price action which will actually call stock markets to go back to COVID lows around 6,600. We don't see that yet. So can you explain me how do we have only 3 waves down in the stock market with these conditions? So there is your answer. Okay. So I don't listen much to the news. Geopolitical conditions can change. So as the market narrative in any moment, especially with this bearish sentiment. So I don't think this is going to go immediately. I think it's going to be a process of basing, and then slowly it will take year or two to go up to, let's say, 90 or 100K. Okay, so I'm not expecting some blown out couple of days things to 90K. No, I don't expect that. Black Max, we already looked Polkadot, so look Crypto Lab after we are done. We already look for Riot. Yeah, so for now, my key levels, just to be clear, is between 21 and 23, 24K. So that will be my zone. For Bitcoin, wave counting validation, which is very important to see on the bullish side, is at 13,970, which is very far from the current price. So to be more precise for the guys which will take word for word, which are not reading between the lines, I do expect these levels to hold. I'm going to have some exposure here, a small one, because I think this is going to be a support level from where, with the basing process, we will continue further on the upside, at least one more leg to complete this fifth wave on the upside. So this will take a year or two. It's not going to be a 1 month or a 6 months affair. Okay. Okay, guys, so let's finish a little bit earlier today. So let's look one more crypto, and then if you like to see more of our work, you can join Trading Analysis. I find also Kusama very interesting, which is of course linked with Polkadot. So Kusama is tracing something which we see as a possible wave 2 or B around 50. So this will be a 5 waves up with either a flat or a ABC on the downside as a pullback. So we can also count this as a 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 5 waves down. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is the context. And the context is that after a 5 wave move completes, we will have either a sizable move back to these 200 levels or a new uptrend. So to me, it looks very nice. Okay. So yes, sushi also is coming close and bouncing from our levels. So it looks like a leading diagonal. So we do see this as a 1 or A down in B, ABC X ABC. So this will be some type of a complex corrective pullback, which you can label something like this, with beginning of the first move as some type of leading diagonal here. So this will be an ABC, X, ABC, and correction is done. 5 waves up, but it's gonna go and correct a little bit more if other cryptos or Bitcoin starts to move lower. But I think 786 are holding pretty well for now. So for now, we have to look for evidence for sushi to develop further higher. Okay, so the last one we will look for today, GMT. Yeah, this can be a flat, which means that this will be a wave A, and we are in a wave 2 or B on the upside. So what actually this means that this is a 3 waves down, 3 waves up. Even in the case this is the wave 1 or A without the flat, this will be A triangle B down in C. So the result will be the same. If this is some type of a triangle, or it will be, or it can be A down in B up in C. I will expect from here or from a little bit higher levels, one more push to the downside where we might find some evidence that actually lows are in place. So my first support level will be at 0.578. Oh, interesting. South Korea investigates Terra Labs for alleged Bitcoin embezzlement following UST collapse. Oh, so maybe we're going to find some new things in this Terra Luna ride. So this is the bill we talked about. You can read all on the CoinDesk, which is following the news. So thank you guys very much on the attention. So we're going to be next week here. Summer is starting slowly, but we are still going to be in the office. So join me next week for the Crypto Lab. If you want to see more of our work, you can join us at Trading Analysis. We do have extensive exposure on cryptos, so you can use a trial to check us out. So as you can see the situation, we are still in inflationary environment, which is continued to be higher. Energy prices are still higher. Banks are raising rates, but the stock market has only 3 ways down. So potentially the stock market will adjust as economy will for sure, because after some disturbance, it always tries to find a balance. So let's see how this will go. So see you next week, guys, and stay well. And I wish you a nice rest of the week. Bye bye.